A probiotic air purifier? Let's check this out. Dave Taylor here in my kitchen, and I'm going to be honest with you, my surfaces are not super clean. I clean them, I have antibacterial stuff, but the fact is that bacteria and stuff in our home ecosystem is less healthy than it is outdoors. We are actually designed to live outdoors, but we create these indoor spaces, and then we have all sorts of bacteria and stuff that grow, and dust mites and all this stuff that create unhealthy air. So, especially if you have allergies or asthma, this can be a constant drag, which is where this comes in. This is a sort of weird and interesting product. This is the BetterAir Biotica800 Probiotic Air Purifier. And the basic idea is that, let me take this off, is there is a little water container full of probiotics that are suspended in a liquid from the Sea of Galilee, as it happens. So if you're really into your Bible history, this is actually interesting. But it's suspended in this water, and this device puts out probiotics. About every 30 minutes, it puts out a puff, and that sort of disperses and diffuses into the air and then settles onto surfaces. And then the battle begins, because then you have the good bacteria fighting to get rid of the bad bacteria. Now, if you think about it, if I use something like, for example, this, right? This is antibacterial. This kills everything, but not all bacteria are bad. So this actually is trying to create a better, healthier balance in your home ecosystem. So these good bacteria will actually lower the amount of bad bacteria that are actually in your environment. So it does make sense from a scientific perspective. So the question really is, does it actually work? And that's a whole nother story. So this is designed for an 800 square foot house. And as you can see, it is about 10 inches long, 4 inches tall, 2 inches thick, about 3.5 pounds. And it has these little feet if you don't want to do that. It also comes with a wall mount, so you can install it on the wall. It's probably best to use somewhere like your bedroom, where you really want to get the healthiest possible air quality. So again, there's no fans, there's no filters. This is not a purification system. This is an air rebalancing or an environmental rebalancing system. It's a little bit obscure to try to nail exactly what this does, which is really its biggest challenge, because how do you know that it's working? Well, we can do one thing at least. If I turn it off and then turn it on again, you'll hear. So I can put my hand over here and I can feel moist air coming out. It actually includes in the box, they know this is a problem. They know that people don't really understand if it's working. So interestingly, it includes these little tiny litmus test papers, and you just take one out and you put it over the spray while it's coming out. And then the idea is, if it changes color even the tiniest bit, oops, exactly as it turned off. How's that for good timing? Let's try that again. I'm going to turn it off and turn it on again. And the intent is, if this changes color even the tiniest bit, and I can see it's significantly changing color, then it's getting moisture out of the device. Here's a close-up of what it looks like. And you can see there's definitely a change in color there. So it's working, it's putting out moisture. In that moisture is the probiotics. Now, does that actually improve your environment? Well, some research shows that that's true, or probably true, but the efficacy of this unit itself is something that's really hard to ascertain. This is like those UV sterilization filter systems, because, there's not much going on, and it's really hard to measure without having super sophisticated lab equipment whether this works. So I put it in my bedroom for a couple of weeks, and I have to be honest, I don't particularly suffer from allergies or asthma. I didn't really notice much difference. It is a premium price product, and not only is it an expensive product, but it actually has consumables. So this what looks like a little ink cartridge. Let's go ahead and slide it out. Not sure you're supposed to do this, but we'll do it anyway. So this is about 50 bucks and you have to replace it every 3 months. And honestly, it looks like it's just full of water. I trust them. I believe that it's full of probiotics suspended in super clean water, but there's a trust factor there. And when you buy this product, it comes with one cartridge. So to use this for a year involves an additional $150 worth of supplies. So that makes it a very expensive proposition. So before I invested that much in my health, I would definitely want to have a better sense of whether it's working or not. And that's hard to ascertain. Really, the only data I could find are a couple of research reports that the company cites, which probably have reasonable veracity, and some reviews on Amazon, some of which are good, some of which aren't so good. All the other reviewers that have tested this thing out have said that they haven't found much in the way of differences in their environment. So I am looking at this and I'm really wishing I had a better way to test it. Oh, and let me show you on the side, here's all the different buttons. So the snowflake button is if you want to actually have it turn off for 10 hours. So that's basically I'm going to sleep. But unfortunately, it doesn't actually turn off the light. So it does a couple of seconds of this, and we'll just sort of let this come out. And again, I can feel the moisture on my hand when I do that. So I'm assuming it's pumping out a bunch of great probiotics, but how do you know? How do you test? When it's done, unfortunately, the little green light on the side stays on. So from a nighttime perspective, that's something they need to figure out, because there are plenty of people that don't like any lights at all when they're trying to sleep. And it's funny for a company that's so focused on this sort of corner market to not actually also have realized that that's something that maybe there's a little cover or a switch or something that you can just have it go dark. So something to know. My guess is if you are that photosensitive, you'll probably just put a piece of tape over it, which, is kind of a drag when it has such a nice aesthetic. It does require its own AC adapter that plugs into the wall, and it has a reasonable length cable, but you will have to have it near a power outlet. So let's talk about the price, because I think I've done a fairly honest and candid job of telling you what it's supposed to do, how it's supposed to work, the logic behind it, and my experience with it. So let's talk about the price, because it's pretty spendy. But before we get to the price, I'm going to ask if you can subscribe to my channel and give me some feedback. A product like this is really hard to review, so leave a comment with ideas for how I could test this next time, because I would like to be able to give these a fair shake and see if they work. But some of these products, you're just like, is this legit? Is this real? Is it actually doing something? So I guess ultimately caveat emptor, as they say. So it's up to you to decide if this is something that can work for you and then try it out. So it'd be great if people do use this and get good results. If you could leave a comment about that, that would be really beneficial. So let's talk about the price. This is a spendy product. This is the BetterAir Biotica800 Probiotic Air Purification and Bacterial Rebalancing Ecosystem Device. It's a long name. And it is $399 at Amazon.com. That's a lot of money. Even for a medical device, that's a lot of money, particularly when you keep in mind that these cartridges are 50 bucks a pop. You buy them 2 at a time for $98.99, and you will need one every 3 months if you're leaving this thing on and running, which you have to do. You can't just turn this on for a couple hours and then turn it off for the rest of the day. It doesn't work that way. It needs to just stay running. Now, as a closing thought, I will say that if you really want to rebalance the ecosystem in your house, stop using toxic cleaners like, unfortunately, that. Don't use bleaches and leave your windows open as much as you can. The more outside air you get into your environment, the healthier the air in your environment will be ultimately. So all of that you need to take into consideration. You need to decide, is something like this going to work for you? And I would recommend, if you can, try to acquire it from somewhere that has a return policy that's actually favorable, so you can give it 2, 3, 4 weeks and then see if it's actually working for you. So it's as candid and honest as I can get. I hope that's helpful, and I'll catch you in my next video.